St. Luke's Episcopal for hosting this. Dennis, thank you very much for organizing, bringing people in. Tim from LTV, thank you very much for recording this. I love the space. I heard a cello in here, and it spoke to me. It's been said that the cello is the instrument that emulates the human voice the best, and to hear a cello in this room is unforgettable, and I hope that I can match that for you in words. I will admit I'm a little nervous this afternoon. As I look around the room, I see my doctor, my lawyer, and my accountant, and I'm worried they could all bill me at the same time. You may have heard there's not a lot of money in poetry, and it's true, but there is a lot of poetry in money. So this is a good time for me to let you know my book is available after the reading. Little copies of Light on the Concrete. But I'm reading 10 poems, and starting with my first collection of Lives, which was published in 2006. Can everyone hear me okay?
A little closer.
A little bit? Okay.
Yes.
I don't want it to be too loud. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just begin. This is called The Beached Whale, and it lay there vacant-eyed, 66 feet of mammalian demigod, for all to ogle, spouting saline geysers no longer, tongue protruding out enormous slack jaw, a once colossal grace gone motionless. The large crowd gathered round an alien cadaver with cameras silent, eager to take it all in, unsure exactly how, for none had seen a bigger beast in suit of flesh. It lay on the grand scale where myth grows realistic and divinity dissolves. The single being that outweighs all others was deceased. Hesitant to arrive at partial conclusions, apt to want the full story, people curiously circled, unable to resist the enormous speculation, life's eventual end. Undeniable imagery. Could this not all be a mirage? And that was a real whale that washed up in Southampton about maybe six years ago. A big monster. 8 years ago? Yeah. And it was just gigantic. The closest thing to Moby Dick I'll ever get to. This is called What the Sea Stole. Hold tide. Hold your copious motions for a moment, while I replay this summer tragedy, for all to seize the danger inherent in it. Days will begin alike until something changes. Families gather for weekend picnics on the beach, friends to sunbathe and swim. The wind picks up and then settles down as children run rampant on the sand. People like to party their days off. Water makes life bearable, where land leaves them disappointed. It is freedom that they seek, those surfers who brave sharks and squalls to ride, who mount the equine wavery, harness wild fluid power on boards, and heal the breaking thrust of gravity. Others enjoy the calm solitude of a long walk on sunlit shores. They envision a gilded ocean's surface and soak in dreamy leisure, entranced by gulls that float guilelessly above the human crowd, ready to dip down for a handout or invade an empty blanket, screaming with laughter all the while. Young women wear the least amount of clothes. Their diminutive suits cover to great effect burgeoning spheres. It is hard not to look or look away, for nature construes to keep eyes glued on beauty. Let's return to the romantic coastal scene where couples lay quiet, sometimes talking, genuinely serene. A volleyball game starts. Radios echo off umbrellas, and the salty odor of ocean pervades the air. Several people stare out across the bright water with curious faces, shielding their eyes with hand-shaped visors. A call is made to two young boys. They've gone out far from shore. They are brothers and best friends. More, they're drifting apart. A louder, more urgent call goes out. A lone surfer grabs his board and sprints into the water. He has to reach the two young boys. The third call is a cry. Someone help them, hurry. A terrible anxiety begins to sweep the beach, and only one conversation can take place now. Some rush to their phones to call for help. Others wait out to discover too great a distance, too turbulent a sea. A cruel tide has carried the brothers apart, and now one slips from the other and drifts much further out. The fourth call. Who makes it? Boats and helicopters are on the way. The lone surfer closes in on the nearest boy. He can't see the other. He only hears, "Where is he? Where is my brother?" Now all life is in peril. The surfer paddles back to shore with what little strength he has left. The boy he has saved cries loud and louder. Grown men and women now openly weep. Fathers and mothers themselves are overcome. They have witnessed some of the worst in their lives, but this is too much, and yet only the beginning. For when the surfer returns, exhausted, heroic, with the boy whom none can silence, not now or ever, to the wave-broken beach, the boy just screams, "My brother is dead." And it is true, no humor can make it false, that two young boys once went for a swim, and even after extensive search, only one returned. That's also a true story. That happened in Hampton Bays, I think about 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah. Let's move on to the North Fork. This is called North Fork Afternoons. In an epic ripe for ceremony, thirsty adults gather to taste various wines at vineyards ideal for literary readings. With nose and tongue they select diverse distillations of grape for subtle flavor and bouquet, perhaps to string quartets. They lounge on sunlit patios with bottles of chilled white, some sweet, others dry, and chat with old acquaintance. And then soft cheese and cherries, rosemary-encrusted bread, almonds, avocados, chocolate, followed by chicory coffee. After a nap, let's ride to the sound and watch the water heave, or take gentle strokes offshore and casually surface to breathe. It is a treat to live out east on Heaven's Isle. Tomorrow comes quite regularly. Time passes in an eye's wink. One more from Lives. Again, the seashore is provocative to, I think, anyone, but especially a boy from Iowa who grew up working on pig farms, waiting for the smell to blow away. And so here we have the fresh air. This is called Woman on the Shore. She spoke the word, the name, the symbol, and knew what bitter joy it brought. She was that which unknowingly represents another, and yet outshines the original. Her voice was more powerful, her person undeniable. Mother called her daughter, love her husband, yet she heard them not, for her eyes were fastened to mine, and we were one, strangers to each other, a woman on the shore and I, totally unacquainted, but joined in a mysterious agreement. Come on, said her daughter. Let's go, said her husband, and yet she moved not, rather stood and stared directly at me, hypnotized, unconcerned, possessed. Again, the word, the name, the symbol that she read on my face and saw inside of me, and then spoke aloud in a gentle whisper, an expression near apology. She stayed and did not leave when her family called. She did not move an arm. She stood still, perfect still, until they stopped what they were doing to watch, waiting, wondering. What would happen? What had happened? And then I felt this was all too much, that it was time for her to go. And I told her so with my eyes and thanked her, and then gasped as she turned away and held back trembling as the waves crashed into my ears. That one's a bit inexplicable, but I did meet a woman